the best it's done so far. As you can see, it's about dusk, and before it gets too dark, I'm gonna go and pull this old Oliver 70 into the shop, and tonight I'm gonna see if I can get it running. It's been sitting here for a while, and hopefully everything is still free on it. But we'll take the sheet metal off and we'll do a little bit of a check on it before we go and start cranking on it, just to make sure that everything is free. I don't want to break something before we try starting it. So hey, here it is. We got the old Oliver pushed all the way up here in the front corner of the shop, and after we got it pushed in, my dad said, I never thought that this would be in the shop and that we would be working on it, but here it is, and I'm really excited. So we got to start someplace. My plan of attack is to take off the sheet metal, take off the hood and that front cowl over the radiator, and probably pour some Marvel Mystery Oil, down inside. Pull the spark plugs, pour some Marvel Mystery Oil down inside there. Maybe that'll soak into the, soak around the rings a little bit and help them make sure that they're a little bit lubricated. So if we start turning this over, it's not going to be so dry. After we do that, pull the valve cover, look at the valves. My main concern is having flat lobes on the camshaft. So hopefully we don't see any of that. And I think the easiest way to see that is going to be pulling that valve cover and looking at how much play we have with all of the push rods and the valves. So that's kind of step number one, I think. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, as you can see, there is definitely an animal living down in here, making a little nest. What animal it was, I don't know, but on the underside of this, you can see all sorts of stuff just packed up in there. Hood's in good shape though. I'm gonna go get the shop vac, vacuum all that crap up. I don't want to be working around that. First time seeing it without the the hood on it. Man, there's a lot of dust and grease under there. I would have expected more coolant to be in there. I hope that means it's not all down in the crankcase. Oh, there we go. If I loosen the radiator cap, still not a ton. This is the lower radiator connection, so I started loosening these, and you can see some antifreeze is oozing out of there. But what I thought was interesting is that this belt is basically wearing a groove in all of this grime, that greasy dirt that's all over this whole tractor. It's heavier than I thought. Okay, I got the radiator off. You can see front of the engine here. The reason I took the radiator off, I wasn't planning on doing that originally, but I really want to see if this is frozen. Now, it wasn't 5 or 6 years ago when we got it. However, it has been sitting outside in a covered shed without a carburetor on it. The exhaust pipe has been covered, so that's good, but I'm going to throw a crescent wrench on the front of that crankshaft and see if we can turn that over. Hopefully it's not. That'll just make me sick if it is stuck. Hold on. Let's just give it a little. I'm not going to push very hard, but there it is. Okay, that's good. Now, let's go up here, and you can see all of this dirt and all of this grease and grime on top of the valve cover. I gotta clean most of that off to pull that cover, so that's just gonna be a big, huge mess. There is so much dirt on top of this thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. But underneath it all, there's nice green paint. So, oh, what a mess. Let's get all this cleaned off. Okay, I got the engine all cleaned off. I removed the air breather. Yeah, it's actually looks pretty clean. It's, you know, not being familiar with Olivers, it's kind of interesting to see how they made these. You know, there's like a rubber dam thing here, I think, just to prevent oil and dirt and stuff from, well, I'm guessing to prevent oil from leaking from here down onto your hot exhaust manifold. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. This muffler is all intact. I'm really pretty pleased with this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pop the valve cover off now. It's pretty clean. Let's see what it looks like in here. How sludgy it is. How loose all of the valves are. Hopefully not bad, but kind of preparing myself for the worst. I want to be really careful. I don't want to damage the gasket that's under here, because I just want to do some checking here and then hopefully reassemble it. Okay, that's loose. Okay. Oh, here's some little copper washers. Kind of keep stuff from leaking. Don't think it did a good job because there was about 50 pounds of oil and dirt on top of this engine. But see, here's what I was talking about. Little copper washer. We'll put them back on. I'm just covered with this grease and this dirt because after I scraped all this off, I got some compressed air and blew it. And all of that compressed air all of that stuff just went everywhere, which I knew it would, but. Okay, moment of truth. Here we go. It's actually not too. Oh, I thought that was something broken. No, that's just an oil line. Okay, it's actually not dirty. Not dirty really at all. Let me turn my light on here. Can you see that? Everything is really pretty clean. Here's the inside of the valve cover. Wow, that's good. And well, you can see here, so whoever owned this tractor in the past changed the oil on May 19th, 2009. So you can see the rocker arms, or excuse me, the push rods. They're they have a cup type on the top of them. I know some engines actually lubricate through the push rods. I don't know if these do or not, but wow. That's good. Let's check clearances. Okay, I'm about halfway done with the valves, checking them. I'm here on what I'm gonna assume is piston number 2. I'm assuming 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, so I'm on number 2 here. The manual calls out a clearance on the cold engine between 10 and 12, and it says an average of 11. So I've got my feeler gauges right here. Probably can't read it. Here's an 11 thousandths, here's 10 thousandths. And so that one might be a little bit big still. Tighten that one a little bit more. Same with that one. I'll tighten it just a little bit more. Okay, so I loosened that lock nut. Now, I'm just gonna tighten that a little bit more. Now I'm gonna hold that set screw tight while I tighten that lock nut. That's pretty tight, and so then what I'm gonna do is the last little bit, I'm just going to turn them both at the same time until they're tight. Okay, that's good and tight. Now let's see if we are closer to 11 thousandths. That's too tight at 11, but it should be good at 10. Sorry, you couldn't see that. Here's 10 thousandths. 10 thousandths right there. 11 just doesn't quite make it. This is a little loose, so I'll tighten that one up too. Okay, got the valve cover back on. I was gonna take out these spark plugs and I was gonna put in, like I mentioned, Marvel Mystery Oil. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I took one plug out and I just get worried about with all of this. I mean, I cleaned it up as best I could, but I just get worried about dirt and stuff falling down inside of the cylinders. So I'm not gonna mess around with that. It seems everything inside of, when I open up the valve cover, everything inside of there seems in really good shape. I did check the oil. The oil is low. It says it's about half full. There you go, about half full. So I got to put oil in it, and honestly, I don't even know where to put oil in this thing. I'm guessing right here, inside of the, what I believe is the governor. Yeah, that's the governor. I assume put it in here. Excuse me, I'm tired. But I'm not positive, so I'm gonna go do a little bit more reading and then see if we can get this thing to fire up. I'm tempted to just spray some ether up in here and just see if it'll fire, but I don't think that's going to be that great for the engine, and it's not really going to tell me that much. So anyway, really pretty pleased. This is it's been about 5 or 6 years since we brought these tractors home, and they've just been sitting. And then in one evening I got it torn down pretty good, cleaned up pretty good, and now just got to see if we can get it running. Okay, I'm going to turn my attention now to the fuel system on this little Oliver. I have 2 carburetors, one right here and one here. They appear to be pretty similar. The only difference is how this fuel inlet looks. This one comes straight out the side, and this one comes out the back. But as I went through them, this one, there was one tube deep down inside here that I could not get loose. Or not one tube, excuse me, one screw. I think it was the main jet screw or something down inside there, and I couldn't get that loose. So I focused my attention on this carburetor, got it put back together. I think hopefully it doesn't leak out the bottom here. The seal didn't look too bad, but I didn't have a new seal to replace it, so we'll go with that, and hopefully it doesn't leak out that back. Anyway, I'm going to put this carburetor on, but before I do that, I have to clear out this fuel passage. So I'm going to take this fuel line off the sediment bowl here, just make sure that that is clear and clean, because right now I can already see that a bug built a nest in the end there. I jammed a little pointed pick down inside there to clear out as much as I could of that bug nest. Now I'm just going to try to blow it out with this nozzle. Let's put these together right here. Let's see what happens here. Okay, that is clear. Okay, ran into a big problem. Look right here. This is the carburetor that I was planning on using, just because it was the one when I cleaned the body out. It was pretty clean, and I got all the screws and everything out just fine. But when I was going and tightening the fuel connection fitting right here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a crack right there. And as I was tightening this up, I could see that crack opening up. I don't know how long it's been there. And it's probably repairable with some JB Weld or something. If you could probably smear it over the outside and get it to seal up, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But also, this is something that's funny. On this carburetor, just the way that the tractor is, so if you look over here, sorry, if you look right here, here's the throttle. This connects over there to the governor right here. Sorry, I'm reaching. So that's the throttle rod right here. You can see that the throttle rod comes in right there. And so I have to have my tripod set back up. Sorry, this is not good filming. I have to have my carburetor set so that the throttle connection is on this left-hand side, but this air filter or air inlet is pointing towards the front of the tractor, and it needs to actually point towards the back of the tractor. So that confirmed that this one right here, this is the one that was on the tractor. It must have been, because it has the throttle connection on the left-hand side like it's supposed to, and this is pointed off towards the back. And also the choke connection right here is correct, with this wire style. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is original, but yeah, it has this wire style of choke set up on the tractor now. So anyway, so this is the carburetor I've got to use, which means I've got to get the passages cleaned out. And right now they are not, they're not clear at all. So time to do some soaking or something for a couple of days in carburetor cleaner, and just trying again to get this carburetor clean. I now know this is the one I need to use. Now I just got to get it clean enough. So I mentioned that the carburetor had a clog in it that I couldn't get unclogged, and I just got it unclogged. It was this little hole right here, which is the idle passage that goes from the bottom of the carburetor up into the engine. This is the passageway that was clogged, and I couldn't get it open. And if you look down inside there, look down right inside there, you can see, well, let's see. Can you see my little piece of MIG welder wire? Oh, I'm so relieved. So that means that the bottom of this, the bottom of this carburetor is good, which I'm glad about, because it had the correct style of choke and everything like that. So I can go ahead and I can put this back together. Okay, it's been a couple of months since I've been up here working on the old Oliver. Just get busy with family and with work, but I want to get this put back together. And my goal today, this morning, is to get this thing started. This carburetor is now put back together. If you remember, well, I'm sure you remember because it hasn't been that long for you, but this is the carburetor that I was planning on putting on there initially, but then it cracked right there. So I've got this carburetor, I've got this carburetor now, that I believe is the correct one that goes on the tractor. And then I've got my fuel line here. I'm just going to slam it on the tractor right here, connect the fuel line, and then I am going to put the radiator back on. I got the radiator hose right here, the correct size radiator hose. I want to put the radiator on so that I can let it run for more than just, 60 seconds. I'd like to put it on and see if I can get it on and then even tune the carburetor a little bit. So here's the fuel tank. If you look down inside, there's a little bit of debris down inside of the fuel tank, but I'm going to vacuum that out, and then the rest of the fuel tank looks really in good shape. So that's fantastic news. Okay, here's my vacuum. Piece of 1-inch conduit on the end of a shop vac. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Got rid of all that debris. The bottom of that tank is super clean now. That's actually something that I wish I would have done on some of the past tractors I did, because this outlet right here will always get clogged up with debris and slow the flow of fuel from the tank down into the sediment bowl. But yeah, this is a lot better. Okay, the radiator is put back on, filled full of water. We changed the oil. My brother did that. It wasn't registering on the dipstick really, so put in probably how much oil? About a gallon and a little bit. Gallon and a half, so 6 quarts of oil. And then while he was doing that, this is still leaking a little bit, but I had to replace some seals up inside of that. Everything is connected now. I think we're ready to start it.
Here's positive. Those spark plug wires are definitely suspect. Oh, it's leaking.
It's just because I filled it full.
Oh.
Sparking?
Careful.
Yeah, this is a positive.
This is ground.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do you want to hit the starter?
This button here?
Yeah, let's see. If we have to shut it down.
It's not in gear, is it?
Okay, if we have to shut it down, I just disconnect the coil and that will spark. Okay.
And my foot's on the clutch.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
I don't think it's getting
Uh,
gas.
Hey, tighten that.
Go ahead. Somewhere it's not getting gas.
No. Let's see here.
Did you clean that carburetor?
Yeah. I did. Okay. Again. I can feel the throttle. It has suction on it.
I think you're going on ether.
Okay, go.
And you're in front of it.
That'll scour your piston walls.
Watch out.
Well, guys, we tried for probably 15 or 20 minutes to get this thing to start, but it just wasn't happening. We'd crank it over and over, and it wasn't getting any fuel. So we'd shoot it with a little bit of ether, like a tiny little shot, and it would fire for a fraction of a second. But it wasn't getting anywhere, so we decided we needed to take a break and come back again and try another day.
Put the battery back on the charger.
Okay, so this Oliver, we came out, I put the rebuilt carb on it a while ago, and I tried to start it, and it would not start. It didn't seem like it was getting fuel. So I just put a couple of gallons into the tank. Fuel system is hooked up. We got fuel down in the sediment bowl, and it's coming up here into the carburetor. So I'm gonna make sure that we've got fuel down in here, and then if we do, I'm gonna try to start it again. Okay, battery's hooked up. It's in neutral. Let's see if it turns over. Whoa. Let's see this guy go. Okay, it's turning over. Let's choke it. We have to do the manual choke. I'm going to choke it manually. That's the best it's done so far. Some more throttle. I don't know if throttle. I think throttle down would be more throttle. Just a second. I'm going to hook up the choke. Okay, battery's hooked up. The throttle wasn't connected. And I think that may have been one of the problems why it wasn't starting last time. And then I also tried to hook up the choke. Problem is my choke cable is frozen. But I did connect it. I hooked up the choke enough that I can just run the choke by hand rather than placing my hand over the inlet to the carburetor. So let's try this again. Choking it. Oh, I gotta turn on fuel. Okay, here we go. It's really hard to tune the carburetor when you have such an obvious misfire. I don't know. I mean, as you can see, these plug wires are extremely old. They should be replaced. Probably go in here, look at the Poinson condenser. But it could use an ignition tune-up, but now the fact that it's actually running. Oh, also, it could probably use some plugs. But I think once we figure out the misfire, then we'll be able to tune the carburetor, because it seems like it's running okay. Every now and then it'll blow out a puff of smoke. I think that's probably just because the cylinder that's not, oh, right there. I think it's probably because the cylinder that's not firing all of a sudden fires. Or there's a little bit of oil bleeding down in and that's messing up. I don't know. But you can see that it does run. And if that misfire was fixed, it would actually be a pretty smooth running engine. There's a little bit of a rod knock. Let's look at my oil pressure. It says it's still okay. In all honesty, I don't know if this was off where it was when I started, but well, but that is really exciting. The old Oliver, it lives. Honestly, that knocking sound, it sounds like it's coming from up top. Maybe when I adjusted these valves, I probably should have adjusted them. I probably could have adjusted them a little bit better. But that knocking sounds like it's coming from the valves. At least that's what I'm hoping. That pulley is a little bit off. Oh, it's about to die. Let's rev it up and see what happens here. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh, it's moving. Yeah, so we do have good oil pressure. Well, that's good. That's really good.
Well, the Oliver lives. I honestly, I didn't think that this would happen. I've got so much other stuff going on with work, family stuff, and then the other tractors that we've just recently bought. This was kind of a very low priority, but I got it running. Now the plan is still to take this engine out of this row crop and move it over to the Wheatland or the standard Oliver 70 that we have, and put that together. But before I do that, I probably do need to do a little bit more tuning on this. Like I said, some ignition stuff, plugs and wires probably, but all that just more time and more money. So, but for now, I'm so happy that I got this running. Also, because this is prime shop space in my dad's shop, and so he wanted me to get this thing running so that then we could maybe move it out of here. But all in due time. Just the fact that it's running now, he should be a lot happier, and I'm a lot happier too. So thanks so much, guys, for watching. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. It doesn't really cost you anything, but it does help the channel grow, and it helps me be more motivated to keep dropping more videos. So thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you later.